Shabbat Shalom. Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. August 22nd, 2020. Triple vision. Yes, we just passed August 8th, 2020. Triple vision. What is triple vision? Triple vision is to be able to see, right? To be able to see both physically, spiritually, and in the darkness. Okay, that's triple vision. Okay, not to have insight within oneself, to be able to see through this darkness in this day and time. First, I want to give all praises to the Most High, to His King, Yeshua HaMashiach. I want you to know that this is a blessed lesson. The Most High has been preparing me for a few days to give this lesson in depth. So I hope that you follow along. I hope that you make this go viral. I hope that you give a thumbs up. And I hope that you will share this with your friends and family members, because this is very important. This will not only give you a remedy to bring together the things that you may hear about the mark of the beast, and to actually see how it can and will be enforced. So that being said, I want to show you a few resources I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the King James app, the King James Bible app, with the Strong's Concordance. You can get that off of Play Store. I'm going to be using that. So if you see me looking down and going there, that's what I'm going to be using. When I do my study, I use the Cambridge Holy Bible. This was a blessing from my father. It has the red letters in it. It's important to have those red letters because the Messiah says they are life. The words that he speaks will judge you in the end, and that he is the light of the world. So why not follow the light? So red words, King James, Cambridge Bible, that's what I use. Of course, you can get you a modern day version, but this was a blessing from my father. I'm going to be using the Apocrypha. Alright, this one is a Covenant Christian Coalition, the literal standard version, and we're going to be coming out of the book of Markofbeast in that. I'm going to be using an illustration. You'll see that it'll pop up on the screen, about Babylon and the empires of Babylon. And the website Temple Secrets website, I'm going to be using that. And Royal Hebrew Math Dictionary. Now, I bought this a while back. Of course, you see it says 360, 720, and 1440. You can get a small version of that online, where they break down the meaning of each letter and word, or each letter from the words. Okay, that's very important because we're going to be using that to get an in-depth knowledge to see in the darkness. Why do we have to use the Hebrew math to see in the darkness? Is because Satan has used semantics and words to deceive the nations and the population. Okay, so Metaphysical Dictionary, I'll be using that. The Apocrypha, the Strong's Concordance, Royal Hebrew Math, Temple Secrets website, and there'll be a few others. I will put the link in the bottom. If you learn anything, please give a thumbs up. Let this go out. Share with your friends and family so that it can come up in the algorithm. Alright, otherwise YouTube will not show this video. Okay, we're going to start at chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13 verse 1. Revelation chapter 13 verse 1. And it says, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." There's a few words that stand out here. See, blasphemy, and heads. Okay, those are the three things. C represents people or nations. That's what C represents. It represents people or nations. All right. Heads usually represent a political figure who is in control of something. All right. That's what a head stands for. Something that is in control of something. Blasphemy, of course, we know what blasphemy is. It is the vilification or evil speaking against the Most High. Okay? That's what blasphemy is. Evil speaking against the Most High. Now, this beast that came up out of the sea, right, is speaking of America. All right? This is the beast. But this beast is controlled by a head, right, called the Vatican. The Vatican See. Okay? The Vatican See. Why? Because the Vatican has control over most nations. Alright? Anywhere that you see a coat of arms, right? A coat of arms that has an eagle in it, the Vatican has had control over it. Did you hear what I said? Anywhere that you see a coat of arms that has had an eagle in it, the Vatican has had control over it, that landmass or territory in some shape, form, or fashion. So we know that America is the beast out of the sea. Why? Because America is a island of a sea. It's in the sea. There's sea all around it. It's not a landlocked place. All right. Let's go on to Daniel chapter 7, verse 3. Daniel chapter 7, verse 3. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Remember, I told you sea represents people. 4 great beasts. What was those 4 great beasts? Those 4 great beasts was Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. Okay? Those are the 4 great beasts. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. Alright? But then it goes on and tells you in verse 4, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Beheld eagle's wings, and beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it, meaning it became a living being. It has a personification of its own self, both physically and both spiritually. Now, where do we see this beast becoming as a man? Now, in the first time, this is Babylon, we see the king Nebuchadnezzar. He was turned into a beast. If you read or remember that story, he was turned into a beast, right? He was turned into a beast. Not only that, the symbol for Babylon is eagle wings and a lion. Okay? In modern times, and day and time now, modern times, that will be Great Britain. That will be the Roman Catholic Church, right? And America. Those are the 3 things. You can find that out by doing a study on Isabella and Ferdinand in the Doctrine of Discovery from the Babylon, from the Doctrine of Discovery from the Vatican. Okay, they had the Doctrine of Discovery. All right, Isabella and Ferdinand were set up by the Pope to come and explore America. Of course, you know that story. All right, with Christopher Columbus and other explorers and stuff like that. How they carved up America. And remember, America started from out of the Catholic Reformation by the fleeing the persecution over here to the Americas, forming an image of the beast. Okay? America is no different than what has gone on in Britain. It's just flipped now. Instead of you having a monarch, right? Instead of you having a monarch, now the people are supposed to be in control. But even that has been, authority has been usurped already. It's gone already. It's been done away with. It was done away when Pope Francis came and spoke at the podium at the White House, and spoke to this nation. That was the end. That was the nail in the coffin. All right, because he would. If you go and read the writings of the founding fathers, they told you, look, don't. The Pope is the one that you don't want to come over here and have control. They rolling in their graves when that happened. All right, for the Pope to come over here and speak to the nation from the highest seat in the office, or one of the highest seats in the office. So we have that. So we know that the eagle's wings, remember the eagle's wings, remember the lion, which is Great Britain, is both a representation of Babylon before and Babylon now. America is the daughter of Babylon, okay? Because they have the same functions as Babylon. Now, the one thing I haven't touched on is Egypt, okay? Because America is also built off the principles of Egypt. Meaning the people are the slaves. Now, the people are the slaves. The pyramid is supposed to have been flipped over, where the people were supposed to be in power, in control. But now it's back to the base, where the people is on the bottom, and you have politicians and rich folks and priests who are in control of the system, the labor system. The Most High says in 2 Ezra chapter 5 and 42, I will liken my judgment to a ring. I will liken my judgment to a ring. 2 Ezra, that's in the Apocrypha, chapter 5 and verse 42. I will liken my judgment to a ring. Meaning that in each stage of the beast, right, that judgment will still be there. So there was a time in Babylon when the Most High judged that nation. He judged the king, King Nebuchadnezzar. He had too much pride. He was turned into a man beast. Why? Because he wanted people to worship him. He set up an image, a statue. On that statue was a head of gold. Babylon is built on gold and labor. Okay, and we'll see that later on. Revelation chapter 13, verse 3. We're going to read that because I also want to talk about that. Revelation chapter 13, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. When did the deadly wound occur? It occurred in between 1798 and 1809. And what was being formed? What was being formed at the same time when this deadly wound occurred? You got it. United States of America. It was being formed. Napoleon came in and he arrested the Pope and did what he removed certain powers from the Pope, and they declared the revolution. You can look that up. You can see the history off of that. I also did a video on the 8 kings that are lasting from the time of that deadly wound all the way up until now, because Pope Francis is the false prophet who is going throughout the world unifying and having everybody wander after him. Just recently, a few months back, he went to the United Arab Emirates and told them, yo, you need to get with the program. And now you see that Trump is able to make a deal with the United Arab Emirates. Let's go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. Let's look at that. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. 2 horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon. Now, America, right, in its beginning, was for the people. Then something rose up. What rose up? It was the monetary system. Okay, which is called the IMF, or the WTO, World Trade Organization. All right. And you also have the Intermediary British Parliament. Most of you people probably don't even know what that is, but it is a council from Britain to counsel those who are here in America, those politicians who are here in America. And most people should know that all your lawyers and generals take the oath under the Bar Association, British Association of Registry. Yes, they work for the Crown. That's why young lawyers are called esquires, and they work for the British Crown. And then you can also rise up in the ranks and become knighted as a knight for the Crown. And then that's why they have certain titles with Sir in front of them, like Sir Richard Branson, like Sir Elton John. These are knights of the Queen's Court. So, now that we got that out the way, let's go to chapter 13. Stay in chapter 13. Let's go to 15. Let's go to 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay? Now this is twofold. This is the image of the beast. Okay? Because there is going to be an image that's going to be set up, just like in the time of Nebuchadnezzar, where you set up an image. But this image will be different than all the other images. That image is AI technology. Okay? AI technology. The first technology that you have now is Sophia. It has given breath and life to the image. Now, in the spiritual sense, yes, America has an image of the Vatican. That is the dragon. What is the Queen's animal? It is the dragon, the red dragon. Okay? So, that image, so when Britain becomes again a Catholic nation, that image will speak to America, and America will dole out its power as it's being told from the Vatican, from Vatican to Britain to America, just like that. Those are the threefold. Speaking through lamb and dragon. Speaking like a lamb, but it's acting like a dragon. Okay? Verse 16. Remember, it gave breath to the image. We're going to see that later, how that image, AI Sophia, has been given breath. Okay? Meaning it's been given life. Verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, and rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. This word mark, right? This word mark comes from charagma, right? From the same as a scratch or an etching, that is a stamp, a badge of servitude, a graven mark. So it has to be graven in. You understand? But the Catholic Church also does a mark as well when they put the sign of a cross on you. You understand? The question I always want to ask a lot of people who only say that the mark of the beast is Sunday worship is this: how will other people know that you went to church on Sunday? How would they verify this information? How would they know that you have political, spiritual, monetary, ecclesiastical servitude or allegiance to this image in this beast? The Sunday law books has been on the Sunday laws have been on the books for many years. Sometimes it's been tried to be enforced, and other times it has tried to be been put down and not really enforced, because it cannot be really enforced in its current form. Why? Because it's tied to economic wealth. Right now, if businesses are not doing business, there's no generating tax coming into the coffers of the corporation. If that's not happening, then there is no power over the people. Why? Because God's power to the people is land and rain. That's God's power to the people, to be able to grow your own crops and food, your nourishment. Okay? You can only control a people by its stomach, by its belly. That's a part of the cross. Part of the cross is moral, right? Political. Political is your right hand. Social is your left hand. Dietary. And your feet. Your feet represents peace and brotherly love, neighborly commerce, connections, networking. That's why the Messiah say, have your feet shod with the preparation of peace. Everywhere you go, you should be greeting, peace be unto you, because you're walking. That's why he washed their feet. Why? To wash the filth off of your feet. What's on the ground? It's clay or dirt. Then there's good soil, good clay, and then there's miry clay, which miry represents sin. So that's why the Most High is telling you that you must be mindful of where you walk, your political allegiances, your social allegiances, your moral or ecclesiastical allegiances, and your monetary allegiances. Your right hand also signifies action and power. Your forehead signifies consciousness and perception. Understanding the truth that seals us through the Holy Spirit and unites us with the Messiah. Having the mindset of the King. Another thing we want to understand is that Nebuchadnezzar set up an image. This image was a giant. The giant, right, was destroyed by King David with what? A stone. King David destroyed the giant with a stone. Where did he hit him at? In his forehead. In his consciousness. In his perception. Okay? What does the stone represent? In its basic sense, the stone represents the law of God. Where do we see the representation of the stone being the law of God? We have what? 10 commandments and 2 great laws. Where do we see that foundation? We see the foundation when Joshua laid the 12 stones out. Okay? When Joshua laid the 12 stones out, outside of the camp. Okay? That's where we see the foundation. We have 10 commandments and 2 great laws. Now, the 4th law, right? The 4th law, which we will get into soon, but I want to stay on David with the smooth stone. That's 1 Samuel 17 and 40. 1 Samuel 17, chapter 17, verse 40. And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even a scrip. His sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. Alright? When David had these 5 stones, right? He had to have few things with him. 5 stones representing faith, obedience, servants, prayer, and the Holy Spirit. Your forehead also represents light Okay? Emitting splendor. What was on the crown of the high priest? He had a gold crown. When he was in the temple, right, the menorahs on the side shone on him brightly, and he had on all white linen, which was another reflection of light, to make that emitting light and presence to shine forth off of him, to shine forth in the glory off of him. But that's for another lesson, another time. Now, we went over and we talked about how the mark of the beast is about buying and selling. In Exodus chapter 20, right? Exodus chapter 20. That's where we're going to go. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8 through 11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. The Sabbath day has to do with work and labor. Why? Because this is how people are controlled. You don't work, you don't eat. You don't work, you can't get married. You don't work, you can't have autonomy or sovereignty to move about the earth. Work is a good thing. Work is a good thing. But work should not consume your life. That's why the Most High put the day of rest in there. Because he know that man will work so much, it will consume his life. That he will work so much, he will forget about the Most High. That he will not pause so that he can see where his blessings come from. So that he can see where the rain and the water and the food and the crops and the family come from. And give honor and praise to the Most High. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Why? So that man can pause and give glory to the Most High for his blessings. To bless the work of your hands. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yah, thy Elohim, thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work. 2 times it's been said. You, your son, your daughter, or your manservant, meaning your helpers, meaning your team. Today they call it your team, meaning your team. They ain't supposed to be working, right? Your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, or your cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Okay? Now, here it says cattle, right? But if we go to Exodus 23 and 12, right? Exodus 23 and 12, we get a better understanding of what has been talked about. Exodus 23 verse 12. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest. Thine ox, right? And thine ass may rest, and the son and the handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. Okay? He gave you 2 things. Ox and ass. The ox represents rich folk. The ass represents poor folk. You understand? He dealt with both classes. The ox is an ox used to pull most of the time. You really won't saddle an ox with something on its back. It will be used to pull and to plow. The ass is used to carry something. He's doing the heavy lifting, the heavy burden. The rich live off the collective people of those who are doing the heavy burden. He may be pulling a cart. He may be leading the way. But the heavy burden is on the poor. You understand? Now we're going to get into some other things. The The ox also means directed. It means strength. It means power. It means leader. The ass represents meekness, stubbornness, persistency, and endurance. All right? If we look at the word, ox, right? If we look at the word ox, and we look at the Hebrew letters, right, is Shin, Ayin, and Resh, right? Shin, Ayin, and Resh. Sa, A, Ra. Sa, A, Ra, right? Right here. I'm sorry. Samek is what it's no, it is sa, teeth, meaning to press, destroy, and separate. And then ayn, to plow a weapon and to cut off. And then resh, the head, authority, and first. Alright? That's how you find out what the in-depth of ox mean. You can also do that for the word ass, for the word, for that word, which is ka, sa, and resh. Same thing. Alright, the only thing that makes it different for this one is having to do